All right, welcome everyone to our daily analysis call in order to prepare for April 25th, 2017. Just a quick disclaimer before we get started. Oops. This is for educational purposes only. Trading is a risky business, so please be careful with your money. And if you have questions about your individual trading needs, I recommend you talk to your investment advisor. Okay. Let's start with our charts. Actually, sorry. We need to look at Forex Factory. So actually, as that's opening up, big important thing that happened over the weekend was the French elections. And as a result of the French elections, we did see that euro jumped up quite a bit. And the reason for that was because Macron and Le Pen were the ones who kind of came out of the first round. They were the winners, but Macron has a majority going in, and now the market is feeling a little bit better. There was a lot of concern about Le Pen winning the elections or being a clear winner, which is not the case right now. So as things stand right now, Macron has a good chance of actually winning the French elections. Second round is on May 7th. So in the meantime, we may have some uncertainty, or we may see some moves because of the polls that will keep coming out in the meantime. So at this point this week, I would expect euro to be a little bit not exactly on the edge, because I think that the fear has passed. However, we could see, if the opinion polls come out with something crazy or something unexpected, that we could see the price move. So be careful with the euro till the French elections are actually done. Other than that, we did have the German IFO business climate numbers that came out this morning, which was positive. And that's pretty much it. Very slow day. Mondays usually tend to be like that. Going into Tuesday here, Italian bank holiday. And then we also have a holiday in Australia and New Zealand today. So that'll be slow Asian session. And then going into tomorrow, we have consumer confidence number for the US. This will be important. We have seen that they're forecasting a lower number. So if it comes out below this number, that would be negative for the US dollar. And going into the Asian session, we have inflation number for Australia, as well as the mean inflation number. So these will be important numbers for Australia. Other than that, there's news flying around about President Trump announcing his, this is the lumber one, around tax cuts. So we may see news about tax cuts as well. So that's something to keep in mind, as well as if they are announced. There isn't a firm date on when they will come out. There is they're still kind of going through the process of forming that. But if the tax reforms are positive, if they are actually good in terms of them moving the needle, then that would be positive for the US dollar. So keep an eye on the news coming out in regards to the tax reforms out of the US as well. And looks like we have a tariff here on Canadian lumber products going into the US here. So this is something, the whole NAFTA thing will get reorganized. I think they're going to, President Trump has repeatedly said that he's looking to kind of revamp that. So as we see some of these things coming out, there will be market moves as a result of that. So I would keep an eye on the Bloomberg here. President Trump was talking about dairy recently, and now we are seeing that Canadian lumber, there is 20% tariff on it, which is really high, and this will be negative for Canada, and as a result for Canadian dollar, because this will impact the exports out of Canada. So keep that in mind. These things will have an impact on Canadian dollar as well. Okay, so in terms of the charts, we'll start off with taking a look at Euro US dollar. We saw that Euro dollar opened at the top end of the range here. We haven't seen price kind of break this level for quite some time. This was actually back in March. And since then, it has been coming down because of the concerns around elections and so forth. So now price went all the way up there. However, it has come down from there. Now, we do have this big gap that could get filled. So keep that in mind. At this point, we can trade it both ways. I would be a little bit reluctant to trade euro too much. However, in terms of there isn't this neutral volume here. We're not seeing, even though the candle is bearish, we're not seeing bearish volume. But the wick in the bottom here makes it a neutral candle. So at this point, if the price goes up into 109.20 level, right into the top here and gives us a reversal signal, there may be a potential to trade it lower, but I would be careful with this one. Or if the price comes into a 107.80 level here, there may be an opportunity to go long, but there is this gap in the middle, and a lot of times gaps do tend to get filled. So keep that in mind and look out for the gap getting filled, so which means that the price could come into 107.80, which is close to our S2 level, or it could come all the way to 107.20 level, which is sort of where the price took off from, gapped up. So this is like an inefficient move. So I would keep an eye on that. However, if it does break to the upside, then we are looking at the next target, which will be 110 will be our next target to the upside. But at this point, I would be looking to see if it wants to fill the gap to the downside, but I'm neutral on this. Pound US dollar daily candle, we are still in this range here. It does look like it kind of wants to come down. So in this case, I'd be looking for 12700 level for the price to come down to, but it could come and fill this inefficiency into 12614 level, or even into this 12600 level. The 12600 level may give us an opportunity to get involved in a long trade. However, the longer it stays above this level here, this support and resistance level right here, the chances of it going higher would increase. So we need to see tomorrow if it does come down. In that if it does come down, the first target would be 127 and the next target would be 12600 here. It's easier to take a long at 12600 as opposed to up here because it's already moved quite a bit and it hasn't broken the high, which means that we could potentially see a pullback into these levels. Looking at the 1 hour, this is what we have for the last 3 days, 4 days, price has traded sideways. And if you take a look here, we are actually seeing, I'm just moving out of the way, we are, it's probably not here. We're seeing lower highs. So price has made a high, then a lower high, and it seems to be pushing into, so we have a bit of a triangle going into this level here, which means price, if this level breaks, this is the important support and resistance at 127 70-ish area. If it breaks, then we have this whole thing open, and especially up into this 2600 level. The first target would be 12700, which is this S3 level right here, and then the next target below that would be 12600, and this is where we are likely to see, if it comes here, we're likely to see the price bounce up. See, this is the breaking point right here. This is where the price broke through to the upside and then continuing on. So now that it's getting pushed to the downside, we could see it come lower. So I'm looking at 2,700 or 2,600 as a potential opportunity to go long on this pair. So right now it is a bearish to, I'm looking for a bearish move in this pound dollar. Dollar CAD here, we are bullish. It is breaking through this level to the upside. The next target is 13600. And if we start seeing more tariffs, if we start seeing more restrictions or more taxes put on Canadian products, US being one of the largest trade partners with Canada, this will be negative for the Canadian dollar and negative for Canadian economy. As a result of that, we could see more of a negative impact on the Canadian dollar, which means we could see price even break these highs. So that's more on the kind of the fundamental theme. But from technical perspective, this is the first time we are seeing the price move higher. Over here, what we saw that was that the price was holding the high. This is kind of like pound. The difference here is though pound is starting to feel like it wants to break down, whereas this was not looking very bearish. Whereas pound here is giving us many red candles here, and now it looks like it wants to break down. This one, on the other hand, stayed up above this level. And over the weekend here, once the price opened, we did see a drop, but now that has been filled. So today's candle here is very, very bullish. And now we're seeing a break above the 135.34 level here. And the next target we're looking at is 13600. So that's what we're looking at. In terms of trading it, so this is a clear break above the high. So if we start seeing more comments around things like more tariffs being put on, more border taxes, or if we see hear news of tax reforms out of the US, all of that will be positive for dollar CAD. So we could see it move higher. In terms of trading this at this moment, we could see it pull back a bit. Now that it's broken above the high, a pullback into the high or even into this level right here. You could see a pullback and then move up above this level. So we're looking at about 35.20 area for a potential pullback and then another move to the upside. But at this moment, based on the daily candle close here, that looks very bullish. Aussie dollar here. Aussie, of course, jumped up with the euro, and now we are seeing it pull back a bit. It's still in this range. It hasn't broken out of this range, so we would still trade this as a range-bound market. If it goes up into the 7,600 level, there may be a potential opportunity to short it here. So the kind of move that we could look at would be something like this and a bounce from that. So a potential selling opportunity here, or if the price goes into here, we could see a potential buying opportunity there. But for now, we could see this inefficient move could get filled. So keep that in mind. So looking at the 1 hour chart here, oops. Let's take a look at the 1 hour. I guess it did come back to fill that inefficiency. So price opened high, it came down, and now it is doing one of these. So it's smack in the middle. Right now, it's not really telling us much. So based on the daily though, we are still in this range and we can trade the range. New Zealand dollar, again, range bound here, even though dollar CAD is pushing up higher, but that's more related to oil as well as Canadian fundamentals. Whereas in terms of New Zealand, Aussie and New Zealand, they're not exactly correlated with the dollar CAD, but they are range bound at the moment. So we'd be looking for a selling opportunity at 70.50, but based on the daily close here and seeing that New Zealand dollar did not move the same way as Aussie did based on the election results. Based on this candle, we're looking for a move to the downside. So we're looking at 69.80 as the potential target, with price pushing down here. So here we are, price, as you can see, is slowly making lower highs here as well. So we had this move to the downside, slight pullback. It didn't even, probably didn't even do a 20, yeah, it didn't even do a 23.6% pullback, but we could potentially see it pull back into the pivot point. It's also a good support and resistance level here, as well as 38.2 Fibonacci level. So we could see it pull back here, but we're targeting this 69.80 level, which is also our S2 level and previous support and resistance level as well. So price moved down. If it stays up like below this level here, we're likely to see this another push to the downside. So normally, so it seems like it's doing the flag pattern right now, a bearish flag, which means price comes down, goes sideways, and then does another drop. So based on the daily chart though, this is looking bearish. Okay, so that covers our majors. Anything else we want to look at? Okay, nothing. All right. In that case, we'll call it a wrap. CAD yen. Okay, let's take a look at CAD yen. Okay, it gapped up. See how it came in and filled this inefficiency? That's the kind of move we could see in euro as well. This one, let's take a look here. Okay, bearish candle close here. And now we'd be looking for a retest of this 80, 50-ish level, 57 level. So daily close is quite bearish and looking for another move to the downside. And this will be a critical level because for the last 4 days, price was not able to break this lower. So this will be the level to watch, 80.57. But based on the daily, it's looking bearish. So we have had a, see, this is this move, kind of move that I was talking about in New Zealand dollar as well. Price drops, holds below, does this flag pattern, and then another drop. So at this point, 81.20 could be a potential. If it stays below this, could be a potential level to sell back into this 80.57 level. And this will be the decision maker level. If price breaks through this, then we are looking for further move to the downside. But at this point, it does look bearish with the target of 80.57. And then below that, we are looking towards potentially this level, so 80 level. Yeah, it has definitely filled the gap. Price gapped up. This was a nice pattern here. It closed below the support and resistance level and then took off to the downside. So definitely filled the gap here. Anything else we want to look at? All right, so in that case, we will call it a wrap for today.